Let's discuss it now, get some reaction in real time and speak to the US political strategist and the spokesman for Republicans Overseas UK, Errol Moorcoach. Errol, always a pleasure to have your company. I sincerely believe there are people still lying down in that room craving for darkness, craving for a defibrillator. It was utterly eviscerating on Palestine, on open borders, on carbon footprints, on everything. He did not spare the United Nations his full evisceration. What stood out to you?
All of what you said. I mean, it was almost an exorcism in some ways, drawing what he saw, the demons, foibles of the United Nations out of them. Almost reminded me of a scene of Lord of the Rings, kind of. It was a little bit enjoyable to watch them squirm when he talked about the $362 million that the UN has spent to fund illegal migrant invasions of the United States. So we fund the UN agencies fund open border groups to invade the US. I mean, all of these things that Trump touched on, that's one that's going to play huge at home, especially to his supporters and to the moderates who are all at least agreeing that the border is the main thing in the U.S. election in the last time. So he took this moment, I think, to lambast them on a lot of their behaviors, a lot of how they have double standards for calling one thing a terrorist attack, one thing a tragedy, and one thing an assault, and almost all the double talk Orwellian speech that has come out of that organization. The UN is a great experiment. I don't think Trump has given up on it, but he's there to fix it. He's there and he's giving these speeches and he's saying what he's saying because he cares. If he didn't care, I don't think he'd show up. So I think there's also an element of caring about this organization that is giving him the impetus to contribute in such a bombastic way.
Errol Moorcoach, your countries are going to hell. The globalist migration agenda. He was talking about the falsely named renewables. They're a joke. They're pathetic. He was talking about how the countries in Europe are on the verge of destruction due to green energy. He said the Palestine state's recognition by delegates in that room was rewarding Hamas. The carbon footprint is a hoax. He said the United Nations used to solve problems. Now they start them. It was an astonishing assault, not just on the United Nations, but perhaps on liberalism itself. Liberal values were just flamethrowed. I wanted to ask you this question, Errol. When he had the same go at NATO, it was about making NATO cough up money, pay their way, and he moved on. What does he want the UN to do?
I think he wants the UN to either come back under the umbrella of common sense or to be sort of not taken apart, but reduced in its importance. If it's going to continue counteracting the interests of the United States of America and our values and the values of our allies and the people in those countries, then the UN potentially is something that the US doesn't have as much of an interest as they had in NATO keeping alive. But I think fundamentally what we want is them to come back to the common sense situation. You can't be funding the invasion of the United States of America. You can't be enabling terrorist groups to have the moral or ethical cover that the UN agencies have done. And on top of all of this, the UN is a hotbed for international intelligence agencies to manipulate as well. So you'll oftentimes have votes that are completely asinine, countries that are not even remotely related to the issue. I'm not going to put any country on blast. Every country is a valid country, but you have coalition building to create votes that affect all of our lives. And I think the manipulation goes back. I mean, Reagan talked about it quite a bit. And I think it's built to a point now where Trump is sick and tired of it. The American people don't need the UN. The UN needs us. We fund a lot of the humanitarian projects around the world. We have been, along with the UK, as Trump said at the state dinner, the single two greatest countries for the human race, for what we've contributed globally. And I think it comes down to respect. The UN doesn't respect Donald Trump. He doesn't respect the United States of America. It doesn't. And if that's going to be the way it goes forward, I think Trump wouldn't have a problem pulling back in a way he was never going to do with NATO. NATO was always a commitment. It was just trying to make sure that everybody took that seriously. The UN, much more wishy-washy, and again, they don't have the cards and they need us very much. If they want to go become a Chinese, Russian organization, they can do that, but they might find that we found another organization. So they would be wise to come and work with us. We're not asking for too much.
Errol Moorcoach, I wonder if that's the point. He said, what is the purpose of the United Nations? They have such potential, but at best now they just write a strongly worded letter. I wonder if they don't get their act together. In his eyes, would he defund them altogether? What a time we live in. Thank you very much, Errol Moorcoach. Pleasure to have you on the show as ever. Thank you.